I'm here with Ian Cheeseman, the Manchester City correspondent for BBC Radio Manchester, and we're going to be talking to him today about everything Manchester City. Ian, we'll start with the owners. Have they done a good job? Any drastic changes since September?
Well, they've not changed the manager, but they brought in a headline-grabbing player in Robinho, and they've made a lot of infrastructure changes, and they've shown that they have got other money apart from the Robinho money, because a fair amount was spent during the January transfer window on Shay Given and Craig Bellamy and one or two others, Wayne Bridge. They've shown that they're prepared to spend some money, and as I say, in terms of infrastructure, they're building a new office suite at the club. There's a lot going on at Carrington, the training ground. They're putting undersoil heating in underneath one of the training pitches, which is pretty state of the art as far as probably world football's concerned. A new gym's been built, and they've got thoughts and plans to maybe add a third tier. Well, not add a third tier, there already is a third tier at City, but to extend the third tier all the way around the stadium to make the capacity larger. So, there's plenty of obvious evidence of progress being made both on and off the field. They've kept a pretty low profile. They haven't done any major interviews with any of the English media. In fact, I don't think they've spoken to any of the English media. The chairman Caldoon's been over, I think, to 4 games, if I'm not mistaken. And the owner has never been to a City game as yet. So they're very much behind the scenes people. They've got other eggs to fry, I suppose, as well. I mean, they've got plenty of other things that they own, a big stake in Barclays Bank, and recently bought the Chrysler building in New York. But they do keep a pretty low profile, that's for sure. I mean, relatively speaking, I don't suppose City are absolutely the number one priority, but their actions show that they're very supportive owners, and every reason to be optimistic about the future.
So you just mentioned the future. What do you think the future holds for Manchester City? Is it a bright one?
Well, the whole club has to adjust to this new status. Almost all the City fans, apart from the sort of 45 pluses, have never seen any success, and so therefore a little bit of success, beating United home and away, getting to a cup semi-final, finishing in a European place, is seen as a massive achievement. And it would have been, if that had been achieved under the previous regimes when City were, without being unkind, just an average team in the Premier League, those would have been massive achievements. Yeah. But suddenly, bang, City are now the richest club in the world, potentially. They can sign anybody they want. And I think it takes adjusting by everybody, the management, the club, the supporters, everybody, to actually think that little bit higher. Yeah. And, I'm sure on the day Wayne Bridge signed, and I don't want to make a personal assault on him, he's a good player, but the day he was signed, that was seen as a definite step forward from Garrido and Michael Ball. But ultimately, surely the step's got to be that you take it even higher. And, if you want my opinion, I'm not a world football expert, but at the moment I'd say Philipp Lahm of Bayern Munich in Germany is probably the best left back in the world. Now, there might be somebody out there that's even better that I haven't heard of or that I don't know of, but if you were to nail me now to say, who's the best left back in the world, I'd say it's Philipp Lahm. So therefore, I believe that City should be trying to sign Philipp Lahm. Now, he might not want to come. He might not want to come for a number of reasons, and it isn't always about money. So therefore you go down your list, but I would be drawing up an ideal list of every position and trying to sign the highest one at the top of the list, and that frankly includes the manager as well. I think you'd be looking at signing the best manager. Mark Hughes is doing a great job, and if Mark Hughes and his team had come to City any time in the last 20 years, I think you'd be saying what a great appointment. But time will tell, and I hope it is them, because it's not me that's going to hire and fire anybody. And maybe I'd be wrong to say that Hughes should go now, but ultimately, you should be aiming for the best in everything you can get.
So who do you think they should buy then?
Well, frankly, I think they need to strengthen right through the team, every position. I don't think there's one player, an absolute standout player, and I think City fans, have been used to mediocrity for so long that now that they've started to sign good players, they think that's what that's as far as City can go. Now I know there's arguments to say you've got to walk before you run, and you've got to win a trophy before you bring the big marquee players in. And I'm not saying they all have to be marquee players, but I think you've got to even Shay Given's just been signed and he's a good goalkeeper. I'd be looking for a better one. Wayne Bridge has just come in as a left back. If you wanted to be really harsh, he was second choice at Chelsea. City are trying to compete with Chelsea. Why would you sign their second choice left back? And if you wanted to be really harsh, and I'm a big Sean Wright-Phillips fan, Sean Wright-Phillips couldn't get in Chelsea's team, yet he's seen as the first name on the team sheet at City. If you want to make City a top 4 team, what you've got to do is you've got to have players that are as good as or better than your opponents, not the ones that they don't want anymore. And we've signed players like that to a certain extent. So I think you've got to really take that next step up. You know, Craig Bellamy was a Liverpool player, a top 4 player. He wasn't good enough at Liverpool, and now he's at Manchester City. So none of them, surely, ultimately, for what they're trying to aim for, if they're trying to be Premier League title contenders and European Champions League winners, then the ambition's got to be higher than that.